If you've ever seen an elderly person that made you say, wow, they're doing really well for their age, usually they're doing 5 things really well. Usually they're able to walk in a fast pace, they can get up and down off a chair quite easily, they can go up and down stairs without any problems. And then the cherry on top is they can bend down easily and they can carry objects from point A to point B without any issues. So if I wanted to feel and move like I'm younger for longer, I'd be working on improving those 5 things. To work on each of those movements, there's exercises that are associated with each of them, and those are essentially going to be the 5 anti-aging exercises that I'll talk to you about today. There's going to be good physiological benefits to each of these exercises, but really the ability to do each of those movements is the thing that allows you to stay younger for longer. I just wanted to do a quick reminder that everyone watching this video has a different type of capacity. So I'm going to go through easier versions and harder versions of each of these exercises so you can choose which one's right for you. By the way, my name's Brendan from VUNO Physiotherapy, and my role is to help people move well and stay healthy so they can keep doing those things that are important to them. So let's get into the exercises. If you wanted to improve or maintain your walking speed, you'd have to practice walking at a fast pace. So the way I'd go about this is just going for brisk walks around the neighborhood. So a brisk walk is walking that's slightly faster than your average speed. This is something that's different to just a leisurely stroll where you're taking your time, you're smelling the roses. This is something that would get your heart rate up and would actually challenge you to some degree. Depending on your capacity, you'd try to do this for at least 5 to 10 minutes most days of the week. But for some reason, if this is a bit hard for you, then you can do an easier version of this, which is just short, fast walks up and down your hallway. So you'd find the longest unobstructed path in your house. You'd walk from one end to the other at a slightly faster pace and just do about 3 or 4 rounds of this. In between each round, you'd rest for up to 1 or 2 minutes, just depending on what you're comfortable with. Now, if a brisk walk for about 5 to 10 minutes is a bit easy for you, then the way that you'd progress this is actually walking for up to 30 to 40 minutes at a time at a fast pace. A fast walk for that long of a time is just great for your overall health, but it is something that we build up towards, and it's something to help make sure that we can keep walking for a long time. So the next one, if you want to maintain or improve your ability to stand up and sit down from a chair, especially from those low chairs, you do have to practice and train your squatting ability. Squatting is always going to be recommended out there for these types of anti-aging videos just because it does target a lot of muscle groups in our lower body. But for me, the main benefit that I do find is that it helps people get on and off chairs and helps people get up and down off the ground, which is so important as we age. You'd work on it just by doing your body weight squats. You come down as much as you comfortably can, then you stand back up, and then you do this repeatedly for 8 to 12 times, and you do a few sets of this. If doing that particular thing seems a little bit challenging for you, then you can regress it. You can make it easier by actually squatting down to a chair instead. You can sit down all the way on the chair and stand back up, and then do this repeatedly for 10 to 12 times. The more confident you get with this sit to stand exercise, the more likely you'll be able to get up and down off a chair with ease. Now, if your body weight squats seem a little bit easy for you, then you can add a weight. You can grab a bag with a decent amount of weight on it, or some weights if you have some, and you can do your squats while holding on to these heavy objects. Now, number 3, the third thing that helps someone look and move like they're a lot younger than they are is they're able to go up and down stairs without any issues, especially when they're outside in public. A lot of people, when they get older, going up and down stairs becomes a real big challenge. Stairs is something that can cause a lot of people to worry, especially if their parents or their grandparents go up and down stairs and it looks really risky, or if they have a fall on these stairs. So if you want to maintain or improve your ability to do stairs, then you have to practice going up and down stairs. And by now you probably get the trend of, if you want to get better at something, you have to practice that particular thing. But if for some reason practicing actual stairs is a bit too difficult, then a way you'd regress it is just doing step up exercises. So you'd stay on the bottom step and you'd practice stepping up and then stepping down. You'd find a step where you can hold onto a rail if you need it. Step step backwards slowly to let the muscles on the legs really do the work. You could try to aim for doing 10 step-ups in a row, then eventually progress this to doing 30 in a row. If that is too hard, then there are other exercises not covered in this video that you can do to improve that stepping up ability. So I think no matter who it is, if you give someone enough number of stairs that they need to do, let's say you give someone 10 flights of steps, no matter how fit and confident they are, they're eventually going to find this quite challenging. But another way of progressing these stair exercises is actually doing double steps while going up. Doing this is a lot more effort and challenges the body in a lot of different ways. So if we're able to maintain those 3 movements quite comfortably, walking quickly, going up and down stairs quickly, and standing up from and sitting down from low chairs, then we'd definitely be feeling younger and active for longer. But doing these next 2 things will help us feel like we can really take care of ourselves and other people around us. Just before we get into those 2, if you're enjoying this so far, remember to subscribe to get more videos just like this. So exercise number 4 is practicing bending down towards the floor. We don't realize how much we actually have to bend down to the floor in everyday life. We have to pick up our shoes, pick up the groceries, pick up something that we dropped on the floor. And sometimes we have to do these pretty quickly and without even thinking about it. If we lose that ability, we start to depend on other people to do things for us, and that's definitely something that can make someone feel older than they actually are. So if you want to maintain or improve your bending ability, we do have to practice bending. One exercise for this is your toe touching, but it's not the toe touching where you keep your knees straight. You actually want to practice touching your toes while bending your knees. When you do this, you get your hips engaged, you get your back moving and your knees moving as well. But for some people, that might be a bit too challenging. A way you would regress this is by just practicing touching your shins instead of your toes. And you'd practice doing this with your back straight and also with your back bent. Now, there's a lot of people out there who might be fearful of bending their back, especially if they've had a back injury. This isn't the topic of this video, but a future video that I'll make will cover progressions on how to improve your ability to bend down more confidently and safely. So you would try to do 10 repetitions for at least 2 or 3 sets of this bending exercise. To progress it, you'd reach further down to the ground. Once you've practiced bending down to a certain level enough, then you'd actually progress to doing bending and lifting while carrying something relatively heavy. To make this easier, I'd start with something light and then progress gradually. I'd start by carrying the weight higher up, then lowering it to wherever you're comfortable, then pulling it back up. And then once you're confident, you can start to practice picking stuff up from the ground. And then now exercise number 5 is actually doing a carry. We need to be able to move these objects that we lift up from point A to point B, and that is something that we do have to practice in order to maintain and improve. So this might be something that you do in your day-to-day life already, but if you can deliberately practice it, then that would be amazing. The standard version is just carrying something with 2 hands and walking around the house with this. This is also a visual and balance challenge because you won't necessarily be able to see where you're walking while you're carrying something with 2 hands. To make this a bit easier is you could actually just hold on to something on your side like a bag of groceries and just practice carrying that. This would work out your grip, your whole arm, it'd work out your balance and your trunk. So it's a great exercise altogether. Now, the more advanced version of this is actually carrying something at shoulder height. Eventually, we do need to get things from the floor up to the shoulder height or even up to overhead height. Carrying something at shoulder height doesn't seem that common, but when the occasion does come where we have to hold something higher up, we want to be ready and prepared for this. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts about these 5 exercises and which of these do you think you're going to be adding to your exercise routine. If you want to learn more about progressions for improving your walking ability, then you can watch this video over here. Hopefully you find it helpful as well.